Right, so I'm back with another tone recreation video. This time it's the self-titled Chimaira record, another guitar tone that I really like. Again, it's mixed by Colin Richardson. A few things that I know about the guitars on this, or that I've heard. Bogner Überschall, and I also heard that there were some additional 6505 tracks as well. But I've heard various things from different people on this, including Rob Arnold on his channel. Maybe people's memories of it a bit different, I don't know, but it's been a while since this record came out. But I always thought the guitar tone was awesome, and this track in particular, the guitar tone at the start just always stood out to me as just really satisfying. A big part of nailing a guitar tone is the playing. I think there's a certain sort of bounce to the pick attack that I've seen watching Rob Arnold's videos and just in trying to replicate it. So the pick attack is just very specific to the player. And the other thing is cabinets, like the sound of an individual speaker. Every speaker sounds different no matter what. Even if you make two back to back in the same factory, they're going to have a different high end, and everything's like, they'll be similar enough, but when you start really getting into the nitty gritty of guitar tones, they're all very different. So trying to nail this guitar tone exactly is pretty hard without the exact speaker. That being said, I feel like I've got pretty close, and I've done some EQing. A lot of the moves that I've made some of them are just general mix moves, and some of them will be to try and replicate some of the characteristics of that exact speaker that was used. So let's listen to how the guitars are sounding. So let's look at the main rhythm guitar tracks. So we're using STL, Ignite and Pub for the Bogner Überschall. I am using an overdrive for this one. Those are the settings that I just dialed in. We're not using the cab from this plugin, we're using the cab from my plugin because those are my favorite cabinets, and I'm really specific about speakers because that's, to me, the most important part. I mean, it's not just to me, it's just fact. The biggest coloration of your guitar tone is going to come from speakers and your mic placement on those speakers. So I've got some 421 in there. I know Colin Richardson loves them. Those microphones, 57. And then we've got some additional quad tracks here with the 5150. This time using the 2000 cab 1 from the plugin. So I'm pretty sure the guitars on the record are quad tracked. I feel like I can kind of hear it on the intro guitars to that song. There's just a slight chorusy vibe, which you get from quad tracking, not actually using chorus. But yeah, like I said, I've heard a few things. So let's hear how these guitars all sound together. So to replicate the guitar tone, I've got as close as I could, in my opinion, in trying to guesstimate what the raw guitars would sound like to how they've EQ'd them in the mix. And this is how I've EQ'd them in my mix. Now, some of these things, like some of these notches, may have been notches that they might have made in the mix, but a lot of this stuff, particularly in this area, is all quite specific to the individual speaker on a cab. So it could just be that certain cabs or certain speakers will just have you know, a whistle or a different frequency that might stand out in this area. So here's a particularly whistly frequency. Also, I mean, it's quite common, especially for Colin Richardson, to kind of boost this area here to get the high end to like cut through, and like the aggression of the guitars to cut through in the mix. But when you do bring up this area, you're going to bring up some quite harsh frequencies. So when you do bring up this area, if you bring it up in quite a wide way, a wide Q like I have, you may want to do some notching, or you might hear some stuff originally that stands out as whistly and needs notching out, and then you might want to do a wide boost in that area just to sort of compensate for the notching that you are doing. So whichever approach you go with, similar results sometimes. This is that more sort of cardboardy, nasally upper mid-range. Doing a little bit of active EQ or dynamic EQ here. Mainly just for the palm mutes, adding some low and high pass filtering, and that is it. That's what we're doing for these guitars in the mix. Cool, thank you guys for watching. That was getting as close as I could, just being limited to using those 2 plugins for the guitar tones. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy this video, please consider joining my Patreon.